There is a painting hanging in Rome right now that has made people physically step back when they first see it. Not because it is beautiful, and not because it is large, but because it feels real. A woman, a sword, and a man whose head is halfway off his body, blood soaking through white linen. And on the woman's face, not triumph, not rage, but something far more disturbing: doubt. This is Judith Beheading Holofernes, painted by Caravaggio around 1598. And it is not just one of the most violent paintings in the history of Western art. It is one of the most psychologically complex, most technically revolutionary, and most deeply personal works ever put on canvas. Because the man who painted it had seen real blood, real death, real executions in the streets of Rome, and he put all of it into this painting. Before we look at the painting itself, you need to understand the story it is telling. The Book of Judith comes from the Old Testament Apocrypha, a collection of texts considered sacred by Catholics, but not part of the Hebrew Bible. And the story it tells is extraordinary. An Assyrian general named Holofernes has been sent by Nebuchadnezzar, the tyrannical king of Babylon, to conquer every city that refused to submit to his rule. He is powerful, he is brutal, and he has surrounded the small Israelite city of Bethulia, cutting off its water supply, preparing to starve it into surrender. The city is on the edge of collapse, and then a woman named Judith decides to do something about it. She is a young widow, beautiful, intelligent, and deeply faithful. She dresses in her finest clothes, covers herself in perfume and jewelry, and walks into the enemy camp alone. She tells Holofernes that she has come to help him conquer her city. He believes her. He invites her to a banquet. He drinks more, and eventually, he passes out drunk in his tent. Judith picks up his own sword, and she does what no soldier in the entire Assyrian army had managed to do. The city is saved. The army, discovering their general dead and headless, falls into panic and flees. It is a story that had been painted dozens of times before Caravaggio got to it. Botticelli painted it. Donatello sculpted it. Artists across centuries had depicted Judith standing proudly, holding the severed head, victorious and serene. Caravaggio did something completely different. He did not paint the aftermath. He painted the moment. Caravaggio deliberately chose to show the decapitation in progress, not as a symbolic or dignified moment, but as an act of killing captured mid-stroke, with blood spurting from the half-severed neck, Holofernes screaming in agony, and Judith herself recoiling even as she presses the blade forward. The painting refuses to look away, and it forces you not to either. Look at the canvas closely and you will see three figures arranged across a dark, undefined background. There is no setting, no room, no furniture beyond a white bed, just darkness, and these three people frozen at the most violent second of their lives. On the right stands Holofernes, his torso twisting toward the viewer, his mouth open, his eyes wide with the shock of a man who is not yet dead, but already knows he will be. His fingers are clutching the white linen beneath him. His body is still fighting, still trying to push up from the bed, even as his mind begins to go dark. On the left stands Abra, Judith's elderly maid, popied, straining forward, clutching the bag in readiness for the disembodied head. It is a ghastly image, her grim satisfaction contrasting with Judith's determination and Holofernes' shock. And in the center, Judith herself, her face, a mixture of repulsion and determination, conveys the emotional complexity of the character. Through her expression, Caravaggio captures Judith's moral struggle, the tension between her strength and her discomfort with the act she is committing. Her left hand grips Holofernes by the hair, holding his head steady. Her right hand drives the blade through his neck, and her body, her elegant, beautifully dressed body, leans slightly away from him, as if part of her cannot bear to be close to what she is doing. This is not a triumphant heroine. This is a woman doing something terrible because it needs to be done. That ambivalence, that psychological complexity, is what separates this painting from every Judith that came before it. Now here is where the story gets even more interesting. Who was the woman Caravaggio chose to paint as Judith? The model for Judith is probably the Roman courtesan Philide Melandroni, who posed for several other works by Caravaggio around this time. She also appears in his painting of Saint Catherine, and in Martha and Mary Magdalene, both painted within the same year. Think about that for a moment. Caravaggio took Rome's most famous courtesan, a woman who existed completely outside the boundaries of respectable society, and cast her as a biblical heroine, as a saint, as a woman chosen by God to save her people. This was deliberate. This was Caravaggio making a statement. He had no interest in painting idealized, heavenly figures. He painted real people, people with rough hands and complicated pasts. He believed that the divine could exist inside anyone, and he showed it.